The Proclamation of the Holy Gospel according to Luke. The apostles said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." The Lord replied, "If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you would say to this mulberry tree, 'Be uprooted and planted in the sea,' and it would obey you. Who among you would say to your servant who has just come in from plowing or tending the sheep in the field, 'Come here immediately and take your place at table'? Would he not rather say to him, 'Prepare something for me to eat. Put on your apron and wait on me while I eat and drink. You may eat and drink when I am finished'? Is he grateful to that servant because he did what was commanded? So should it be with you. When you have done all you have been commanded, say, 'We are unprofitable servants. We have done what we were obliged to do.'" The Gospel of the Lord.
Our Gospel passage for this Sunday is taken from St. Luke. We are reflecting on the power of the faith of the weak and the vulnerable. The prophet Habakkuk in the first reading expresses what his people had experienced at that time. Violence, destruction, ruin. But the prophet turns to God, even challenges God. "Why are you not listening to our pleas? Why are you not intervening?" Is Habakkuk here manifesting a lack of faith? No. In fact, in his helplessness, he knows he could turn to God. And God responds by saying, "I will fulfill my promise. I will not disappoint. But you have to wait in patience. I will accomplish these things, not you." And if you want to live in justice, you have to live in faith. For the lifeline, as it were, of a just person is faith. Faith that recognizes my helplessness. But in my helplessness, I know that God could do His promise, would accomplish His word. In the second reading, St. Paul reminds Timothy that faith does not mean passivity. It doesn't mean, okay, let God do everything, I will just rest, and I will just be a spectator. No. The spirit that we have received is one of zeal, mission, and even encouragement in the midst of trials. But it is not the activity, the zeal of someone who is proud, who just wants to prove his worth, or someone who says, "Leave it to me, I can do it by myself." No. Even the work of a missionary like Timothy is done in faith, in reliance on the Holy Spirit. For it is God who accomplishes what the missionary needs to accomplish. Again, faith motivating mission, but a humble faith, the faith of a humble servant relying on God. In the Gospel, the disciples just came out from a session with Jesus, and He gave them hard teaching. If I were one of the disciples, I would probably ask myself, could you do it, Chito? Could you really follow those teachings? They are hard teachings. And so, I understand why the disciples turned to Jesus and they said, "Lord, Master, increase our faith." They found themselves vulnerable, helpless. Knowing who we are, we know we could not fulfill your will. Increase our faith. My dear brothers and sisters, we cannot produce faith. We cannot increase our faith. Only Jesus could. We have to turn to Him. But the answer of Jesus is significant. He does not say, "Okay, I'll give you more faith. And even he did not even quantify the faith. He even said, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can tell to the sycamore tree, be uprooted and transfer elsewhere. Well, it is not the quantitative size, as it were, of faith, but the sincerity, the genuineness of the faith that relies on God, the faith that says, what I am not able to accomplish, God could do, even transporting a sycamore tree to the sea. I cannot do it. But my sincere faith tells me God can do it. This humble faith, allowing God to be powerful, the God who seems to be vulnerable or helpless like us, to exercise God's power in God's time, that is faith. And in the second part of the gospel, that humble faith must accompany our service. Service. Jesus is telling his disciples, live by faith, work by faith, serve by faith. Do not serve expecting rewards. Do not serve expecting acknowledgement. Do not serve and then wait for your name to be added on some plaque which will be posted there on the walls of the churches or in the public square. No. What is your reward? Having served. Having done what you were expected to do is reward enough. And at the end of it, you say, yeah, I am a servant. I am nothing. Even if in God's eyes, I am someone. I am a prophet. I'm a missionary. But in my heart, I remain the vulnerable, helpless servant. And I'm just too happy to have done my share. And I allow God to do the rest. Faith motivating service. Vulnerability making faith powerful. Vulnerability making service real. We just celebrated the feast of Saint Therese of Lisieux, the saint that is associated with the little way, the child Jesus. She who considered herself a plaything of God. Do with me what you want to do with me. Not my will. I am here to give you joy. And that's my joy. That's my joy. In her sickness, in her suffering, and even in her struggle with her vocation, she wanted to be a missionary. But how could she be a missionary elsewhere when her life as a contemplative limited her physically to Lisieux? Then she discovered, my vocation is love, humble love, hidden love. And look, the powerful faith of that vulnerable, contemplative Carmelite has been shaking the world with a powerful witness of mission. Let us imitate her little way, the power of faith that comes from our vulnerability. The word has been exposed. Let us now fulfill it. It has been a while now since we started this program in 2008. From day one, you have been with us, our dear friends, assisting us with open hands. We are inviting you once again to be our partners in this ministry. Following the mandate of the Lord to bring the good news to all, we can continue to broadcast and reach more people with your support, bringing the good news to them through television and the internet. Friends, your offering would be very much appreciated. Thank you. May the Lord reward you 100-fold.